Do you actually remember at DA the first time I ran away?
Here's what I remember.
Okay.
So Mandy, I still like when I'm
Mandy,
talking
yeah.
about you, I'm talking about Mandy, not
Mhm.
Amanda now. So Mandy, when you came to this school, I can't remember. It was before I turned 18. So I was still living in the main school, because
Mhm.
in Utah, when you turn 18, if you're in one of these schools or whatever, you can't live with underage people. So
Mhm.
you would have to move to an 18-year-old house.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you were 13 and I was still 17. So this had to be before January.
Yeah.
So when I first got to the school, I don't know, when did you come? Because mine was
I don't even
okay.
know.
Do you remember what the weather was like?
Don't.
Okay. So when you came to the school, were we going to school at that school, or were we getting in a van and
We were
going
getting
to
in a
Orem?
van.
Okay. So before you got there,
Yeah.
apparently, and I was there for like maybe like a couple weeks, a month, we were still going to school, taking classes in the same building as the boys. So
Got
we would
it.
have to walk from upstairs. Mind you, the building that the school was in a old church.
Mhm.
And it was kind of cool, like in a Harry Potter
It
way.
was. It
But
was.
it had a basketball thing, because that's where like monks were staying.
Yeah.
It was built for like priests. I don't
Yeah.
know. But and then so the girls, we were stored upstairs. The girls were kept upstairs, the guys were kept downstairs, and there were times where we would have to pass by the boys area to get to like food or to go to our class.
I remember
And
that.
they discovered at Discovery Academy after a while that like that's where girls would pass boys notes,
Mhm.
and that's like even like we were told we can't even look at the boys.
I remember when we would pass by them, we were supposed to put our head down in a
Head
line.
down, we can't look at the boys.
Yeah.
So at this point, when I'm still like getting used to everything, mind you, when
Mhm.
you first got there, they take our shoes.
Mhm.
Here was my first like reality. Okay, so before you got there, and when you get there, there's no instructions. There's no like guide. You're just there,
No.
and it give you a list of things not to do.
Yeah.
And then you have to just decide based off that how to proceed.
Mhm.
And all you know is that if you get in trouble, there's a thing called a consequence.
Mhm.
And that's 30 minutes of either calisthenics, which is working out, intense working out, 30 minutes of homework, or 30 minutes of cleaning.
You have such a great memory about this stuff, though.
Mhm.
I
We would
need to
have to
talk to my
clean.
therapist about it. I think the trauma has, like, wiped my
No,
brain.
no, well, you had already gone to so many
I
schools.
know. I'm like, and I
But
remember
you
bits and
said
pieces.
DA wasn't even the worst place you went.
No.
I have nothing to compare it to.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, look, DA was bad. DA was bad because it was positioned as a therapeutic boarding school, and it was not a therapeutic boarding school. It was a lockdown facility that
Mhm.
was able to transport you to an outside school if you wanted to.
Mhm.
There were bars on the wall. You were not allowed to go outside. You had to fall in and fall out of rooms. You couldn't look at boys. There were consequences. Like, that was a lockdown facility. If you got in extreme trouble, in the basketball court area,
ISU.
there was this
ISU.
yeah, ISU, like, I spent days in
Intensive
there.
supervision unit. They take your
Yeah.
bra so you don't hang yourself,
Yeah.
and you have to just literally sleep on the floor, and you just have someone sitting outside
Yeah.
of this square box.
Which is
It's
padded.
literally padded. It's like as big
Yeah.
as this
Yeah.
couch. I wouldn't even call it a room. It's like a closet, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone would know you're in ISU because there would always be someone sitting in a chair outside of this like box.
Box, yeah.
And like it was like public shame, embarrassment, but also it's like, why would you put ISU in the basketball court where everyone plays? And like
Yeah.
it's so embarrassing. I was in ISU once. Were you
Yeah.
there for that? Do you remember?
No.
I don't know. Okay, here, back to your story.
Yeah.
Okay. When we first got there, we were going to school downstairs. They
Mhm.
were like, "No more. We don't even want you to be in the same vicinity of the opposite sex. So
Yeah.
we're going to go clean out an abandoned school in Orem, which is like 10 minutes away
Mhm.
that I guess like had been donated to Discovery Academy. So we had to go clean out this school because this is where we would be having school. The girls
Yeah.
would be having school. So we go and clean out the school. And this had like old beaker, it was like a science. It was like a small kids school that taught everything
Yeah.
in Utah. And so we're cleaning, and I get back to DA, and I hadn't been there that long, and I'm in the bathroom putting on makeup because they let us still wear makeup.
Mhm.
And girls were piercing themselves. There was like needles, I guess, in this. There was like they took like needles or pins.
Just random needles.
No, and pierced themselves in the mouth, in the belly button. And then this is when I learned like about the like like how to make it.
Yeah.
Someone had narked, and that's the whole thing. When you get there, you're put into a program, and they
Mhm.
give you like a level system,
Yeah.
which, when you start off, when you're there, you're a 0. The level system goes up to 4,
Mhm.
and if to graduate the program, you have to be a 4. And when and you get evaluated every few weeks to see if you move up, you move down, you're the same.
Mhm.
And like that's how they can keep you there forever. Because
Yeah.
even if you graduate the program, you still have to graduate your like even if you graduate, you could because the school was
Yeah.
the school.
Technically at 18 though, you could have walked
Okay, but
away.
that's another thing.
Yeah, okay.
So anyways, short story long, this is around the time we met you because we were going to school. Well, the
Mhm.
point to that is the girls got caught piercing, and no one knows who narked, but they pulled us all into to the basketball court in the gym and made us all show our belly button. Well, they pulled us into the gym, basically said, "We know what happened. We know someone took the needles. We know some of you girls were piercing, so we're gonna have you all come into the office, show us your belly button and your tongue to see if you guys pierced, and then like if you tell us who it is, and if not, you guys all get 5 consequences." So they gave us all 5 consequences. That was my first time getting consequences. It wasn't even my fault. Didn't know
Mhm.
what was going on. And that's, like I said, 5 consequences. One is equal to a half hour of homework, calisthenics, or cleaning the
Mhm.
bathrooms. So when I met you, we were already at that school,
Yes.
and so we would have to take a van from Provo to Orem,
Yeah.
and we would pull up to the parking lot, and they would open up the doors to the van, and the next thing I know, we're in school and Mandy's gone.
Yeah. Okay, so I was like, "I'm done. I'm getting the out of here." You know what I mean? Like, this place is so whack. So, while there, we had to wear certain colors every day. You know what I mean? We could have jeans and then we'd have plain tees, and they're different colored tees. And each day you wore a certain color. And that was the same for school, right? It was khakis and a certain color t shirt. So, I
And by the
remember,
way, I show up in Juicy Couture sweats. Like,
yeah.
what do you
So,
mean there's no Starbucks?
I know. I remember I was like, "Okay, I'm getting the out of here." And so I ended up putting jeans on under my khakis, and then I ended up putting on just a black tee under, I think it was like a baby blue shirt that we had to be wearing. And I was like, "Hey, I'm getting in first. And when you get out," like, I was the last one because it was a 12 pass van. I was the first one to get in, and they were sitting next to
Because
me.
everyone would just
Yeah,
follow
because
in.
they would follow in, and then, you'd be counted inside the building. I said, "When you get out, shut the door." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just shut the door." And they were like, "Okay." And so everyone got out, they shut the door, and all of a sudden, I just look, and I see everyone go in, and I open the door, and I book it. I run faster than I've ever ran in my life. I find some bushes, I shed the clothes, I get into my jeans and just a black tee, the ones underneath, and then I keep on running. I'm on the side of the highway. I'm like, "I have about 15 minutes to get out of here before all alarms are done." I'm on the side of the highway, a man picks me up. I got was picked up as a hitchhiker. I was driven about 45
Okay,
minutes.
wait, can we pause? A
Yeah.
man picked you up. You were
Yes.
hitchhiking.
Yes, I was
He saw you.
hitchhiking.
Was it a trucker?
It was not a trucker yet.
What did he look like?
He was just this old fat man.
Mhm.
He was probably in his 40s or 50s. It felt sketch as you know what I
Okay.
mean? But he was talking about his kids and stuff like that and all of that,
What did you
so
tell him?
I was just like, "Hey, look, I'm trying to get to my family. I'm in Salt Lake," I said, and he was like, "Okay, cool. Well, I can take my house is about 45 minutes. It's in that direction, so I'll drop you off at the gas station there." Well, the gas station was a truck stop, and I don't even know where the hell it was at. But I'm at the truck stop and I'm roaming around, and it's like in the middle of bump Utah. Like, it is sketch as hell. It's there are truckers everywhere. No offense to truckers, but, like, I'm 14, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I should not be there. And I remember one of my girlfriend's numbers who lived in Vegas, and I called her. Her name was Farron, and I called her and I said, "Hey, I'm coming to you." And she said, "Okay, call me when you get to Vegas."
And how old
And
you're 13 at the time.
yes, 13, 4 I mean, might have
Well,
almost been
yeah,
14,
14.
yeah. And I was sitting there and I was kind of asking people like, "Where are you going? I need to get to Vegas." And God bless, I a woman comes up to me and she's like, "You should not be here."
Mhm.
And she was with her husband.
Mhm.
She was trucking with her husband, who was the driver. And I said, "I'm just trying to get to Las Vegas." And she said, "Why are you alone?" I said, "Look, I'm 17. I live alone. I'm about to be 18. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to my friends and family. Like, I just need to get there." And she's like, "We're going to take you there because we can't leave you here." You know what I mean? Like, we're
Yeah.
either calling the cops, like, we have got to take you away from here. So I ended up driving with this married couple, fabricating life stories, all of this. And they drove me to Las Vegas. I was dropped off at the Greyhound bus station and Fremont Street. And I ended up calling my friend Farron. My friend Farron comes and picks me up and takes me to her house. Well, I fucked up because I lied to Farron's mom, who she was living with. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, I'm so and so." I didn't even tell her my name because Farron's mom knew I was trouble from like previous stuff that Farron and I had been arrested together. So I made up a different name. Well, I had given the lady Farron's home phone number because she was like, "I really wanna check on you." And she called and left a voicemail and was like, "Hey, I'm just checking in on Amanda, who we brought to Vegas from Utah." And it was this whole thing to where Farron's mom took me in a car and she dropped me off at the Greyhound bus station and she said, "You get the out of here just like you got here." And I was 14, stranded in Fremont Street. And I don't know how much into it we wanna get, but, like, it got crazy.
No, let's get into it if you're willing to share.
Yeah, I mean, I this is not dramatic, it was the first time I smoked, you know? I didn't know much about Vegas, obviously you do. Fremont Street back then, I don't know what it is now, it was bad.
Not good.
Very, very bad. A lot of homeless, a lot of drug addicts, a lot of crime. And I remember one time these guys were like, "Hey, let's go into the alley." And they gave me a hit of he was like, "I'm gonna go find my friend." All of a sudden, I'm like, "Wait, he said he was gonna go get his friend who's in that car." He passed that car. I start walking and he's bringing three guys back with him. I start running and they're like trying to come after me. I make it to the Greyhound bus station. The Greyhound bus station was my point of reference. I knew that if I left and went a few blocks this way, I could find my way back. It was my
Can I
centerfold.
tell you it was for me too in Utah?
Yeah.
I have a story where the
Yeah. And you
bus
like,
actually and I've never taken the bus. That was the only time in my life I ever took the bus before was in Utah.
yeah, and you have to think about it. There are no cell phones. There is no GPS at
Mhm.
this time. Like, you can't just look up stuff. You have to like be savvy with how you're moving, where you're going. And yeah, so it was about 4 days of some really really shitty scary situations. And Then I'm sleeping on the outside of the Greyhound bus station on some of their benches, and a woman comes up to me and she says, "What are you doing here?" And she was the most stunning chick I've ever met in my life. And she said, "I'm staying here with my boyfriend. We need to clean you up." Because I was like 4 days smoking 14, dirty clothes, like pretty much homeless at this time. And so she's like, "I'm a nurse from Los Angeles." And I said, "Oh, okay." Takes me up to their hotel room. I think it was, I don't even remember what hotel it was, but puts me in a bathtub, washes me off, goes and buys me clothes, and is taking me around, feeding me for like a day and a half. And then she says, "Now you have to go and make money." She was a prostitute from Los Angeles. Her name was Cinnamon. Her
And when she said she was a nurse, she meant like,
Yeah,
yeah, she plays a
exactly.
nurse.
Yeah. So she goes and I was into extreme things. I was a virgin at this time. Like I was like not doing sex. Boys weren't my thing. I was like, let's steal cars and get up and like, take sledgehammers to things. Like I was like intense at that
Mhm.
time. And so we go and we're walking through the casino, and two men, she picks up two men, and we go up to their hotel room, and she was like, "I'm going to take care of this gentleman and you'll take care of that gentleman." And I go into the bathroom and I'm like, "I'm going to be sick. I feel nauseous," and act like I'm throwing up. And at that point, she handles the business and we go downstairs and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go walk around and see if I can pick anybody else up." And I go straight to a payphone and I call my mom and I said, "I need to get the out of here." And one of the guys who kidnapped me out of bed lived in Vegas. So, like, one of the people who brought me to
Yeah.
the program.
Mhm.
So, him and his wife came and picked me up and held me there until I was transported back to Discovery Academy. I walked into Discovery Academy after experiencing all that,
I know.
and everyone was like, "Oh my god, what," and I'm like, "You guys have no idea what I just
Okay,
went
so from
through."
our end, they wouldn't tell us anything. We
Yeah.
would get like glimpse and pieces because some of the girls who were higher up in their program were closer with the mentors. So they would
Yeah.
apparently, like, I heard something about Vegas. I heard something about 4 days. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
And then, like, the thing is, when you're at this school, you can't talk about certain things because they're triggers. You
Yeah.
can't talk about, well, again, because they don't want you to give us any ideas.
Yeah.
And the thing about, like you said, bringing up the 18-year-old thing, you do have the ability to leave the school when you
Mhm.
turn 18. But the thing is, they scare you out of doing it. I turned 18
Yeah.
there and they said, you haven't finished your program and you still, have to you I think I think I had already graduated, but they were like, "You still have to complete your program.
Yeah.
If you don't sign away your rights and stay here and finish your program, we're throwing you out on the street. We're
Mhm.
telling your parents not to pick you up, and the whole town knows not to help you because they'll know
It's
you're a
so
runaway." So,
right?
like, here I am at 17, 18, like,
Yeah.
just scared because it's like,
Yeah.
I've been scared my whole life. Like, my
Yeah.
parents have scared me like this my whole life, and I was like, "Well, it, like, whatever." So I signed it and I stayed there
Yeah.
later and finished the program.
Yeah,
So
when I
then
came back, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be so good. The streets are not for me." Like, I
mhm.
was like, "I am." It We can go through so much, but to have that experience in Vegas and, like, all of that, it was like, "Take me back to DA. I will do any," you know what I mean? Like, I'm going back. And then I'm like, I just was so not easily manipulated, and I called bullshit on so much of that stuff that I just worked the program for another 6 months to make them believe I was this angel. She's turned her life around. She is the
I
all-star.
remember when
Yeah.
you locked in.
And then I got a home visit for the holidays,
Yeah.
and on the home visit, I snuck out of my parents' house, and I went, I was 15 at that time, and that's when I had officially, like, I was gone after that. I had been, yeah.
Where'd you go?
I went to a friend's house, and he was one of my friends, and, his name was Charlie, and I was like, "Dude, I need you to give me a place to stay," and they were like, "Okay." I bopped around about 15 because I had to drop out of high school after that, so, I mean, I bopped around from anyone's house who would really let me be there because I had a good friends, but their parents were like, "What the is this 15-year-old doing
Mhm.
staying here? My kid goes to school," you know?
Mhm.
So, like, it was kind of an interesting situation,
When you left the second time, did your parents know where you went?
no, 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 no. And then, I remember I was bopping
So
around.
did they think you were a missing person or
No, they so they knew that I was, like, not a missing person. They knew that I snuck out and stuff like that. They actually called the police and filed a larceny charge on me because the jewelry that I had, like, that was mine, I took because I was like, "Well, I'm
yeah.
leaving," you know what I mean? And it was, like, more than a couple grand, and they were like, "We're filing a larceny charge." So I had warrants out. It was, like, a whole thing. It was
Wow.
bad, and then I yeah. Yeah, and I was after that, it was like I was in different youth shelters. I was in Santa Fe Juvenile Hall for a while. I was in a temporary foster home, and I was in so many different pockets, but, I just needed everyone to leave me the f alone,
Mhm.
honestly. And once I was 16, I got on probation. I absconded probation, ended up locked up in LA in South Central Juvenile Hall, flew back to Santa Fe in chains on a plane. I did the whole 9 until about 16. And then finally, they put me on probation, and they were just like, I was working as a mechanic. You can have your own apartment. We're gonna come and check on you, you know what I mean? They were constantly my probation officer would do random check-ins, I'd have to be in at a certain time, and once all of that happened and everyone just left me alone, dude, I was golden, like, I thrived, I was working my ass off, I got my GED, I became one of the youngest ASE certified mechanics in the Southwest, I bought the SAT book and got into University of Arizona, I was like, everyone just, like, stop telling me I'm such a kid when I'm, like, going through so much. I know I was rebellious, but, like, at that time, I didn't know it was for a reason. But then once you kinda figure that out and everyone leaves you alone, you have that moment to, like, thrive and, like, be you and grow, you know?
Of course.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, ugh, like, I'm so glad it worked out for you because I don't think people realize, behind a person, there's stories and like, someone may come off a certain way or look like they've had a nice life, but
Yeah.
doesn't like no one escapes from tough times or tough moments
No.
or like difficult things. And it's just it's the reality is a lot of the kids we went to school with, you know, don't end up okay. I was
I th
looking back, I kept a journal the entire time I was there. I became a writer there.
Yeah.
And I look back at, like some of the girls I was close with, some of them they're not alive anymore. They're dead, committed suicide.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
Mhm.
I think I was gonna tell you this in the bathroom, and I touched on it a little bit. I don't remember a lot. I can kind of remember if I found a journal from when I was in a detention facility, and it was so brilliant because I wrote chronologically kind of things that pivotal moments in my life from like 10 to when that journal was. Because, like, I can't remember a lot of it. I can
Mhm.
remember the things that happened or moments, but I don't remember a lot of it, and DA is one of them. And, like,
'Cause
some of
of the
those
trauma.
girls, I remember being so close to there,
Mhm.
and I know they're not around, and it,
Mhm.
like, breaks my heart, but I, like, don't remember a lot of it. Like, I wouldn't know how to go and look up,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, I think for me, I that's when for me, there's parts of for anyone, trauma you'll block out, and then there's trauma that just stays with you where you remember every little detail, what the
Oh,
smell
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and that was such like a very traumatic core part of my life, of
Yeah.
my development. And I think for me, what you were saying was, once everyone left you alone. And I think that that's the same thing for me. It's like, how are you supposed to build an identity? How are you supposed to build a foundation if you're always in trouble, if you're
Mhm.
always, doing something wrong? And like, I think for our parents, they just thought that was like looking out for us. But
Mhm.
also at the same time, what you're doing is you're not letting someone build an identity,
Yeah.
you know?
I think that from such a young age, I was told I was bad.
Mhm.
And
Same.
so I took on that identity as
Yeah.
if that's who I was. You're a bad kid. You're a bad kid. You're
Mhm.
always in trouble. Your brother, leave your brother alone. This and that. I was
Yeah.
blamed for everything. And so
Mhm.
I was like, motherfuckers, then I'm gonna be a bad
Yeah.
kid,
It
you
was like
know?
it was like a
Like,
self-fulfilling prophecy. I was the
yeah.
same, my I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 and I started taking, Ritalin, and I would
Yeah.
have to leave class to go take, so there was already this like stigma and
Oh
thing that
yeah.
I already felt like I'm different, I'm
Yeah.
weird, I'm bad.
Yeah.
But I just I can't say like I would change anything.
No. I would never. I mean, look at us. We're awesome.
I
Look at
love
us.
us.
I know. We're great. I
We
love us.
survived. I feel like it's
Yeah.
like us. It's like if the Simple Life went to lockdown, which is funny because Paris did go to a lockdown.
She
She went to
did.
Provo Canyon,
Dude,
which was
it's so crazy how popular that was back
mhm.
then. Like everyone went to varying degrees of it. A lot, I would don't want to say everyone. A lot of people went to varying degrees of it. And it's like now look, all of us are writing documentaries and talking about our trauma
Well, the
and
ones that
shit.
survived,
I know, I
because
know.
there's a lot who didn't. Like I
Yeah,
was looking back at my journals and things and like just looking at some of the people who aren't around anymore, and I was like, that's just so wild.
yeah.
But
Have you read the journal?
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah, I had so much hope.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What was the tone was like, life is
I
beautiful?
just couldn't wait to go to college because I think for
Okay.
me, you had, gotten your own apartment and you got settled and having that like probation kind of
Mhm.
set your independence. For me, it was moving to Vermont and going to college there because I didn't have the grades, and my mom found a school in Vermont that like you had to have like ADHD to go there.
Mhm.
Um and and so I got into this school, and so I literally went from Utah, 5 months in Vegas, or sorry, 5 weeks, a month in Vegas between when I would go to college. So I went
Mhm.
from a lockdown to a month in Vegas at home to school in Vermont, which is the complete opposite of Utah. It's all about independence. It's all about, just be yourself. Because I went to a
Was
school,
it
it
a
was like
culture shock?
it was like it was a culture shock, but in a way that I was like, I needed it. I was like, "What do you mean I don't have to ask permission to go to the bathroom?"
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would I would ask permission for things that people would be like, "You're in college, you don't have to ask permission to use the
Mhm.
to go to leave a room."
Yeah.
So I still was like I still had a lot of that like I had nightmares for years. I had
Yeah.
nightmares for years that I was like I was clawing at the floor and they were pulling me back in by my
Yeah.
legs to the school. So like for years, it was just something that like I didn't I didn't know how to process other than time,
Yeah.
because I still was angry at my parents. They didn't understand what I went through. They'll never understand.
Mm-mm.
A lot of people won't ever understand what it's like to be taken from your home, from your reality as a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
and then sent to a school where you're around other lost souls.
Souls, yeah.
So,
It's really interesting. It's like I agree completely. No matter the relationship with your parents, it's like there are going to be things about them about your mental health and your past and how we
mhm.
were raised that they'll just never get. You know what I mean? They just won't.
Can I just say that if you and I when I was 17 and you were 13, and if
Mhm.
we now were to go to them and I'd be like, one day, Mandy, you're going to be the at Warped Tour, literally booking everything. You're gonna be so high up in music, like you're gonna forget how sad you are you didn't go to Warped Tour as a kid,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And if you would have been like, Rachel, you're
You're
gonna
gonna literally be in Jackass. You're going to literally have that stand-up career of most people's dreams, just living life with your podcast. Hot
I
AF.
probably wouldn't cry so much over my DA boyfriend then.
Who was your DA
I had
boyfriend?
several.